All right, y'all, let's get into it. Gang stalking. So, I'm going to talk about gang stalking, but on a broader spectrum, okay, on some of the things that happened to me. And I will start with last year, probably, let's say more than last year, let's say about 14 months ago, I started to have a realization that I was being followed. Um, And yeah, at first, I kind of thought I'm tripping. Like, why would somebody be following me? Who am I? And then I was like, no, they're really following you. So for me, they present it as Caucasian folks, men and women. That's how they presented themselves. And I believe that some of them could, well, I won't go into all that, but they present it as Caucasian men and women. Um, and so I would see them on my street. So I'd get home at night and they'd be parked at the end of the street. And it would be like one or two cars. And as I'm leaving in the morning, I'd see them. And then, so where I live, you have to kind of go around and go in, and it's a little cul-de-sac. But on the back side, so if I go in my backyard, there's a fence. And the fence, over the fence is the street going out of my area. So sometimes I would be leaving and I would see people parked on the side, but it'd be right next to where my house is. And sometimes those people that would be parked would be doing all this crap. Um, and so I shouldn't say crap because sometimes I see people doing handwork and it's light language and it's beautiful. But what these folks were doing, mumbling and jumbling, and no, it was black magic, it was dark. And even one time I pulled up on the side of my house. There was a lady, she presented, and she didn't just present, she was. I don't even think she was someone who could shapeshift or anything. She was a gypsy, um, and I pulled up on the side of her, and I said good morning, and she rolled down her window and she said, "What do you want?" And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "You go back to LA, to Compton, where you belong." And I just started laughing. I was like, "What?" She said, "You don't belong here." So this lady was in some beat up old car doing her little voodoo, hoodoo, half ass magic, telling me to go back to Compton. And I could do nothing but laugh. Um, I feel like she was getting paid to do something to me. It wasn't working. Whatever she did, it hit her and her family. Um, and then I left. I drove off. I was just like, "There's no sense speaking to an idiot." Um, and I kind of was still laughing. I was like, "Really?" Um, okay, so that was one time. But I constantly saw them on the side of my house, but I never said anything to them again because that first time, she told me to go back to Compton. So I was like, okay, forget it. These folks are not that bright. So then um, I noticed them outside the store, and they would come in droves. And sometimes they'd be in a black SUV when they were following me, a black or white SUV, but the windows would always be really dark. But it didn't necessarily have to be, but I saw that a lot. Um, and I eventually realized it was a scare tactic. They were trying to scare me. There was another time when I was okay, so I'm coming outside my house, and there's a long road that you have to take before you can get to the stoplight and turn. And so I had seen a guy every time I would get to the light to go down the long road, he was like parked and then he would start going. And it had been 3 days, and I realized that he had been following me. So on this third day, a car got in between us. And I got to the light, and I was the first car at the light. Then there was another car behind me. Then that guy was there. And so it was so funny because I I turned, and when I turned, there's a bus stop there, and there's kind of a little indentation where the bus kind of pulls in and picks people up. For whatever reason, I pulled in there and I parked. I didn't plan it, it just hit me. I pulled in there, I parked the car, I turned and I looked at the guy, and so I'm looking at the cars. The first car passes by. The second car, he just realizes that I'm over here, and he he sees me. And the second that he realizes it, his head is turned, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and he's all, he goes, it's so funny to this day. He's all, and his hands are on the steering wheel, and then he keeps going, and I was just like, what the fuck was that? And I waited there for a few minutes and let the cars go, let the cars grow, and I could see him. And so when I saw him, he got to the light and he was making a U-turn, then I went. And needless to say, I never saw him again. So I think maybe he was swapped out. He probably reported that she saw me. And I never saw him again. And it was really funny. And then another time, I was coming home. It was just starting to get dark. And there was a lady in an SUV. And even though the windows on the side were dark, the front were never that dark. So I could see her. She presented as Caucasian. And I'm driving. And she proceeds to get up. They always do this. They always do this to me. Okay? They get their phone out and start taping me. And I was like, really? And so I'm driving and I see where I could get over just enough to get in this other lane. And I did it at the last minute, and she wasn't able to, and she kept going straight. When she went straight, I got behind her. And I started driving behind her, and she freaking freaked out. I got my camera out, and I'm in the back window. So the sides are dark, but in the back is not dark, and the front is not dark, okay? And I proceed to start taping her, like she was taping me. And she starts freaking out. She's freaking out. And inside I'm laughing because I'm like, how do you like it? How the fuck do you like it? And then all of a sudden, I realize I'm being swarmed by cars. They're kind of trying to stop me. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And I see them in, it's just old cars. It's like, there's a lot of them in on this. And once I realize they're trying to friggin' surround me, because she's freaking out and they're her backup or something, I don't know. She gets in the turning lane, I got behind her, and then I just got out of the turning lane and started going straight, and I could see her, she's all flustered. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was laughing, I was like, what in God's name? And so, and so I just went straight, and they all kind of swarmed her, and she turned in, and I was like, they can dish it, they can't take it. It's okay if she's following and taping, but once I do, all hell broke loose. It was like I was surrounded by an imitation SWAT. It's really weird. Anyway, yeah. And so they would come to the store and they would park in front of the store. And sometimes long trucks, I put a picture on my YouTube of the U.S. truck that parked in front of my store. So the reason I thought that was interesting is because they didn't do that at first. But once they started having meetings about me and all this shit, then I noticed just there is a way that they are communicating. They, who are they? I don't know. I don't know specifically. I know that some are covens. I know that some are doing witchcraft. I know that there are some gypsies, and I don't know if they're affiliated with the covens or they were called into the covens. And I do know how crazy this sounds. Trust me, I do. But I'm going to keep talking. If this isn't for you, then skedaddle. Okay. And then I think there are some higher ups as well. And I think that lady in that black truck was a higher up. When I say higher up, I don't mean a coven. And maybe she isn't a coven, but I mean higher ups. Okay? Let's just leave it at that. You can use your imagination. Um, but, so they started parking outside. So there was a number of incidents. There was an incident where this lady was delivering uh, sodas next door. I never saw them deliver sodas next door. I never once saw that happen. But this particular day, she had all these, and I don't know if it was a tap. I don't remember if it was a tap or if it was. I think I have it in my. I actually think I do have a picture of it. I deleted it recently, so if I can find it, I'll try to attach it here in the video like they do. I'll look. We'll see. Anyway, so she was standing outside with it. Then she gets her phone up, and I realize she's taping my store. I was like, what the fuck? And so I get my phone out, and I start taping her, and she freaks out. It's like they can tape you, but when you start taping them, um, she really freaked out. And then she stopped taping, and she turned around. She kept turning around. She did not want her face taped, although she sat there taping my store and me. It was interesting. Yeah, I'm going to post it. If I have it, I'll post it. Or it'll be a separate video that says this is the Coke lady. Okay? And anyway, so, uh, and then they would be outside my store. And sometimes I would see up to 8 cars. How do I know they were outside my store? Because they would park facing my store, um, and they would have their lights on, like it's some kind of, that is their way of indicating um, their disdain or hatred or whatever it is for me, to flash their lights on my store. Um, and sometimes they would be doing that and do witchcraft. And I could feel it, but it would like bounce off of me. And then it would go back to them and their families. And then sometimes awful things would happen to them. That was their karma. And then they would blame me, and they'd come out in droves again and do all this shit that would bounce back to them. And it was so ridiculous that they did not have a realization that they were doing it to themselves. They kept blaming me. And it's bigger than that. I think that there was a gentleman, I said gentleman, not so gentleman, but there was this man that worked here who I believe was a fallen angel. He presented as light but was not. And others who have come here. There was another guy that came soon after I severed my ties with the other guy that worked here, another guy that came in. And I had a knowing that they did spell work against Lovestones, but that's not the point. The point is that they also spread gossip about me and my store. And the gossip that they would spread, the nonsense, the toxic gossip that they knew was a lie, would have these folks come and do this stuff. And it would only hurt them. And so kind of I would feel sorry for their ignorance, that they were only hurting themselves. And the people that they were following, of course, those people would let them do it and let them get this karma because they knew that that the karma would go back to these people. They knew it. They just thought, who knows what they thought, but I believe they thought that they were going to do so much to me that I would be scared, pack my bags, and go. And I may pack my bags and go, but I will never fear any of you. You should know that there are levels to the spiritual journey in which I am on, and all of you are on, but don't even realize it. And my ranking is much higher than most of yours, of you witches and you warlocks and you vampires and werewolves and whatever else is out there. You hybrids who have been lied to. My ranking outranks all of you. So, really, you should sit down. But I know that your egos will not allow you to. And so you will continue to stalk outside of my store and then come in and buy $5 worth of incense and think that will adjust the karma, which it will not. It just won't. It's laughable. And then there was a time when spell work was done on my mom, and I remember a lady brought the daughter of her boyfriend. Yeah. And to buy stuff, and I think she was doing the spell work against my grandma. She was so shaken up about it. And I mean, these energies that they have doing that spell work, what they have done to themselves is just sad. They have binded themselves to this planet for generations. So my mom was an oracle. I say there are levels. Her level is so much higher than any of these beings, especially these younger ones. And the karma that they have generated for themselves cannot be manipulated or passed on to anyone else. They will carry it with them, and they will know by what they reap on this planet that it was because of the dark magic in which they did to an oracle who was here way, way, way before any of them ever were an idea in someone's head to create them. And so they came in and bought $100 and some odd worth of stuff. And I knew they had been doing stuff against my mom. I knew my mom had been blocked. There was nothing they could do. There was only one time where I think my mom even felt it. And that was during the tower falling down. And that was the day she had a headache. And her breathing machine kept going out on her. They were manipulating her breathing machine. And my God, universal law was broken that day. And everyone who participated in that, the lives y'all must be living, the hell you must be going through. Y'all are messing with an oracle? Y'all are low level. Seriously. You have to be aligned in this dimension and in the spiritual. It's a double alignment. I am double aligned. Y'all are not. You're not even aligned in this dimension, let alone in the spiritual. Foolish, foolish, foolish. Anyway, so I'll get on with the story. So they would park outside, and actually, let's do a second video on that because that's more about the witches and the covens that came against me, my family, and the stuff that they did. So we will stop here, and there'll be another video, and I will start talking about the spell work and some of the stuff that was done, and how I know that it was done. And I'll try to do that today. I'm not sure what time it is, but I will try to get that in sometime today. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. And please check out the salt cleanse. And if you are having trouble aligning with your heart chakra, check out our Blue Lotus drops. You will love them. They will be life-changing, I promise you. All right, that's it for now. More to come. See ya. Bye.